No, ma'am, I understand I saved your life. Didn't see you there. Tremolinsky here with Jillian Flannery and Peyton King, and today we're going to be showing you a mobile medical facility.
Modified bus. That is what we decided to go with, okay? Let's go over the basics here. We got a waiting area for the people that are coming in, an entrance area, driving area, obviously. One of our staff will be in there. We'll go over that soon. 2 exam areas. This is for documentation, quick assessments, all that good stuff. Then again, we're going to go over this. An operation room. This is for the really serious business. Sanitization area with some tools spread throughout. Same with equipment, okay? We also have 2 bathrooms right here, sink, toilet, all that good stuff. We don't need to talk about it, okay? And then we also have a little staff area with some special meds, a refrigerator for the meds, equipment, all that. We also have more equipment for and bed area for, guests who have to sleep. Yeah, and that's just a basic overview. You could go if you just want to take a better look. Jeepers creepers, I hope you have staff, and I do. Emergency communication specialist. So this guy is going to be working in, the main driving area, just taking in random phone calls saying, hey, emergency. He's going to go, okay, take in baseline info, tell the rest of the staff what to do, be prepared a bit. He's also going to drive around to these locations. Next up, triage nurse. So going to take quick assessments, triage chart. So basically ranking people importance, basic info, vitals, gives other workers info, documentation. So you can see that they're mainly going to be in the staff area, exam rooms, operation room, and basically everywhere. Same as this nurse. She's seen some things. Emergency medicine nurse technician. So specializing in emergencies, taking vitals, basics, routine patient health. As you can see, blood work with this guy. Emergency care, saying don't die, the usual meds, and then records and samples. But we're still missing one. Emergency response technician. If a building falls over, hopefully that's not foreshadowing, then this guy, Dr. T. Wilkinsker, he could help you out. Specializes in injuries and treatments with emergencies, operations, stronger meds, everything, diagnosis, calling for extra tests. This is your jack of all trades. That's our staff. But how will they even help them? Do they have equipment? Of course they do. Here's just a couple, got some thermometers here. We got some vaccines. We got some antiseptic wipes. We got ice. You got the stuff they look at the ears with, all the good stuff. Some bandages, a sink for sanitization. You need a cast? Here you go. X-rays. Tourniquets. Hopefully your teacher taught you about that. But I'll teach you about what we're ordering for this place. Otoscope, stethoscope, ophthalmoscope scope, nebulizer, ice, splints, cast, brace, metal implants, surgical equipment, vaccines, thermometers, x-rays, blood pressure monitors, heart monitors, antiseptic wipes, bandages, wraps, lotion, power outlets and Wi-Fi's, glucometers, rags, tourniquets, legates, syringe, sink, fridge, documentation area for the computer and chairs, curtains. We will need all that stuff for things like if there's a broken bone, for some medication that needs to be cooled down. What if, you're having inflammation, you need to cut that down a bit, you got some ice, you need a vaccine for, you get rabies, you may have that, you need your ears checked up, we got this, so you got a broken bone, want further tests, we got x-rays here, tourniquets, what if you're bleeding a ton? I hope someone taught you about that. You need to sanitize yourself, that's for the staff, but yes, that's the sink we got going on for you. Our nurses are top of the line, I tell you what. And they take notes on their meds, I'll tell you that much too. Penicillin works with bacterial infections, open wounds, skin and ear infections. Cephalosporin is basically the same thing, it's an alternative. Works with skin and soft tissue. It's also commonly used for pneumonia, meningitis, so that could be, useful times that we use that, or if there's an infection. Refrigeration is needed for the liquid version of cephalosporin, so that's why we got that fridge, open wound, ear infection. Nitroglycerin, this is used to prevent angina, which is basically just when there's not enough oxygen-rich blood going to the heart. So we can see the heart right there. He's like, no. This could also be useful times where people have clogged airways from bad air, Also, this will be stored at room temperature for us. Ibuprofen, we all heard of this one. The girl in our Spanish class goes, oh no, I have a headache, as we can see right here. But she also has inflammation, which is the time that we could use that, and it's a mild pain reliever. We also have oxycodone, which is a strong pain reliever, like broken bone strong. We'll have this at room temp, and as we can see, this guy is his whole arm chopped off, but he feels nothing. I didn't realize there's more notes. Okay, naproxen, that's a pain reliever. It deals with fever symptoms. It's just as strong as codeine, so it wouldn't be like, hey, if you have a broken arm, we're going to give this to you, but it'd be a tier below that. Epinephrine, I hope you have a teacher that's taught you about this one. So it's just adrenaline for the body. It deals with allergic reactions such as anaphylaxis. So like this guy here, he got stung by a bee. He's like, oh, wow, I'm getting hives. So you get that EpiPen. It's slang for epinephrine. Diphenhydramine. Hard to say. So this deals with flu-like symptoms, and just so you know, all these are at room temperature where we store these, but basically it's just yelling at flu-like symptoms and saying, hey, that's not good, cut it out. Hydroxin, love this guy. So this deals with allergic reactions, and also it's an anti-anxiety and tension med. So as we can see, it's a pretty zen med. So it says no itching, no allergic reactions, no anxiety. It's a pretty chill guy. All right, loratadine deals with allergies, hives, sneezing, etc. More flu-like symptoms, if I'm being honest. And then again, at room temp, and just yells at these flu-like symptoms like, no. Emergency communication specialist / bus driver, located right up here, by the way, took a little phone call. And what did it say? In my major urban location, a building under construction has collapsed. During rush hour, oh no, the building's collapsing. Oh my god, the taxi driving by, and this guy's like, ah! Okay, so he said, yo, staff, happen. Take what's needed to prepare. So he notifies the rest of the staff, like, hey, this building has collapsed. And that basically gives them an idea of what to prepare for, what tools to bring out, what is needed, etc. And then they start driving away. Here would be some of the info that the emergency communication specialist would pass down to our triage nurse. So there's a 42-year-old man who was in a car crash with a stiff neck and nausea, as we can see to the right. 17-year-old with a sore arm from a hit with a bike. Doesn't seem like anything is wrong, no cuts, nothing like that, no marks. Also, there's a 28-year-old woman who got hit on head from debris. She is unconscious, but she still is breathing, and she has blood on the back of her head. As we can see, her lungs are happy, but she's catching some Z's. A 37-year-old female is having trouble breathing with eyes watering from dust getting her eyes. As we can see, these are some sad lungs, and also she has some watery eyes. So from there, what would happen? Now, entering our area, we will have the triage nurse work with the patients in the waiting area if she doesn't already have the information, taking down the basic information, or we'll put them down in the exam area to make sure that there's no real big issues with the vitals or anything like that, just taking basic assessments. But to see who comes first, she will make a triage chart. So emergent being the highest priority, may not survive without treatment. So think anaphylaxis. Urgent being like a broken bone, pretty immediate, but maybe slightly postponed. So in that category, we will put down the 28-year-old unconscious woman. So with her being unconscious, we got to make sure that she is still having breathing pathways, and also that the bleeding on the back of her head just doesn't keep persisting, because that is a real bad place to bleed, I'll tell you what. And then semi-urgent, needed care but isn't near immediate. So we would put the 37-year-old with breathing issues in there. Obviously, breathing's pretty important. You need that to survive. Non-urgent, so minor conditions, not immediate. So think flu-like symptoms. The 42-year-old in the car crash will fall into this category, only having a sore neck and nausea, nothing really too out the ordinary. And the 17-year-old with a sore arm will also fall into this category, not really having any noticeable issues. But from there, in the exam room, which all these people will go with both of our nurses working in this room, they will take down basic information, while these non-urgent people will be in the waiting area for their time of care. Obviously, taking priority the 28-year-old woman, then the 37-year-old man. Now that the triage nurse is done making their triage, we will start with the treatment plan. Beginning with a 28-year-old who is unconscious, still breathing, with a head wound that is currently bleeding. So we will start off where she will enter, then go into the first exam room, being the most important, making sure that there's no extra issues, keeping up vitals, saying that she's still breathing, making sure there's bandages on the back of her head, wipes, making sure it doesn't get infected, all that good stuff. Then from there, she will most likely move down to the bed area where the nurses could keep easy notice of just vitals, and if anything is changing, keeping sure that breathing pathways are open. So the emergency medicine nurse technician will be the main one helping out over here. The second most important will be the 37-year-old woman who is having trouble breathing and watery eyes from the dust. She will start off in the entrance area and not go into the first exam area, because that is where we're going to have our first patient. Instead, she will be sent down to the second exam room, and the main thing with this is just getting vitals down, making sure that she is having still a normal amount of breathing, making sure that there's no other issues or anything else we'll have to check up on. We also may send her to the operation room if needed, since it's right next to there anyways. It's quite simple. And the physician could run some extra tests, making sure that her lungs are okay, her throat's okay, if there's issues with the breathing pathways. And then most likely we will keep them down in the bed area for a bit, just making sure she's good with the breathing issues and nothing else is going on. But the main interesting thing here is the medicines that we might give her. So diphenhydramine is a for sure, because the eyes, we want to get rid of that wateriness that we could see, and diphenhydramine is our perfect person for that. Hydroxamine for if there's anything related to anxiety playing here. So the trouble breathing may just be like, oh my god, I just seen a catastrophe. So if we believe that's the main issue that she's revealing to us during our documentation, then we might also employ this. And then nitroglycerin for the breathing. So if it becomes a real big emergency with her breathing passageways and just she's not getting enough oxygen in, we could use the nitroglycerin from this physician and just make sure that she will not have any issues with her heart. But that will be the main care for her. As our triage nurse has told us, these two guys, they're not that important. So sadly, we'll have to put him in the waiting area. Let's start with the 42-year-old man, though. He had been in a car crash, he's sick, he has nausea, and just other flu-like symptoms. So first, obviously, just like all other patients, extra checks are important. So once he does get into that exam room from the waiting area, there's a visual representation. He'd start here, go here, then go into whichever one would be first available. Check up on him, see if the physician has anything else to potentially check more, like CTE, because he was in a car crash. But we will do ibuprofen for mild pain. It doesn't seem like he had any major pain at all. And diphenhydramine for flu-like symptoms that he's currently experiencing. And that is pretty much exactly what we're going to do with this individual. Now let's go into the 17-year-old boy. So he only reported sore arm after having a collision with the bicycle, and then it seems like he had no cuts or nothing visible. So, just like everyone else, extra checks. See if there are actually secret, cuts hiding somewhere, but it's gonna be pretty simple. Just some ice, a cloth, just making sure that this gets not as swell. I'll tell you that much. And then just check for anything unusual. Have your physician run some extra tests, and then have the nurses just make sure that nothing's too out the usual when they're doing their checkups. But then again, enter here, go into the wait area, go into the exam area, make sure everything's all good. When we're done with our scenario, how will the treatment flow look though? Well, we will have a capacity of 10 patients being able to stay in the waiting area, the beds, or the exam rooms, along with the operation room. So these 10 areas that the patients may say are just all different areas where any of our staff may help them out, and they will serve a purpose being there. The treatment flow also is pretty open, making it really easy for the staff to work through. The 2 exam areas being very close to the entrance makes it easy for emergency situations to be handled quickly, along with the operation room if it's a very urgent matter. The sanitization area being near all those 3 areas also just makes it very convenient for the staff to work. The bathrooms are always just something nice to have, especially for stool testing and for the beds for our patients who need to sleep for the night. Our staff area also is very important because we do have a refrigerator keeping some special medicine in there, vaccines, along with just some more important equipment. And like I said earlier, there's equipment throughout this whole place, and that just makes it really easy on our staff to work. So that is our mobile medical facility.